You are listening to I'm Refocused podcast with your host, Shemaya Reed. This podcast is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. Now, let's tune into today's podcast.
Welcome to I Am Refocused podcast. Today we have a special episode for you. And when we do an episode on Skype, that means someone is out of town. They're not here locally. We're definitely not the local barbershop. Shout out to Rico. Rico is the owner. Because as you all know, every single Thursday we are there 10 a.m. to 11. Well, today we have a special guest. She goes by Kayla Sanders. She is the wife of Deo Sanders, and she is a mother of Makena Sanders and Levi Sanders. I want to welcome you to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm great. I'm so excited to be on the show.
What's awesome is this is really epic. This is about life fitness. This is about you having an amazing opportunity to grace the cover of Oxygen magazine for the January-February cover girl. Before we get to the fun parts, because all of it's going to be fun, in all honesty, but tell us a little backdrop of you and how you got into fitness.
Yeah, so just a little bit of a backstory. Long time ago, was a pageant girl, and I competed for Miss Tennessee, and I actually won. I placed third runner up, and I won swimsuit. However, whenever I competed in the Miss America organization, it was different when it came to getting physically fit. Like I'd have a goal, and it was kind of a yo-yo diet, quick fix approach. So, those approaches never really last. So just over the years, the newlywed weight, baby weight, it just kind of started to pile on. So Oxygen had a challenge, and I needed some home workouts where I could do stuff at home and then also on the road because I travel a lot for work too. So I signed up, not necessarily wanting to win the cover of the magazine, but just to have some easy workouts that I could do on the road and at home. So that's kind of a little backstory. It kind of fell in my lap, and over time you get momentum. And when I first started this whole challenge, I could barely do one push-up. Now I'm able to literally pump them out. So that's my fitness journey. It kind of just fell in my lap.
And that's pretty interesting because you had a day job and everything. It's not like you just, expecting this challenge to come through. Like, tell us, how did you hear about the challenge, or how did you see it online, or how did it come about for you?
So even when I was a little, I would say maybe 16, 17 years old, I used to always look at the Oxygen magazine and just look at the girls because the type of physique that I really like is a more toned physique, not necessarily a bunch of muscle or just skin and bones. I like a more toned look. So Oxygen magazine has always been a magazine that I have always liked, and I admire the women who are in that magazine. And the challenge kind of came about because I follow Oxygen magazine. I also get their emails too. And I remember kind of being not necessarily down in the dumps, but I was just like, you know what, I really need to get my health in order. And it was very convenient. I got an email from Oxygen, and they talked a little bit about the challenge and that it was coming up over the summer, and to sign up. So I signed up, and I just worked the plan, and I just took it one day at a time. But even more backstory, I lost my father to heart disease. And I also work in cardiac surgery. So I see patients day in and day out who are sick, who are really sick. And I see the effects not only on the patients, but also on the families as well. And there's so much that we can do on a day-to-day basis with just our health and on the things we eat and things like that, and like how we move our bodies to ward off heart disease. So with me seeing that day in and day out, and then also my father's journey and just having little little girls, I knew I needed to make a change. So that was really the catalyst for me in signing up for the challenge.
And with this challenge, everyone's going to be having questions like, what's the secret sauce? So this was definitely not easy street. So take us through the process of you doing your exercise routines. What did for you, like what was working? Were you changing things up if it wasn't getting the results you were looking for? Like how did you even come with the master plan?
Right. So the big thing to me, you have to do a little bit at a time. Like Rome was not built in a day. We hear that saying all the time, and it just applies to life. As I started the process, I started with just the workouts, and I gradually started to change my eating too. But once you start to get momentum, and you just build upon the momentum that you get. So I basically started out with the workouts that they provide. I followed their meal plan. Not to a T. I did change my eating habits to a more pescatarian way of eating. One, just because of the clinical benefits that I've read about in regards to the pescatarian lifestyle, and then also a plant-based diet. So it was just a gradual thing for me. I knew in the past when I just went all in, sometimes I threw a lot out there, but it wouldn't stick. So I needed something that was going to stick and be a real lifestyle change. So it was a very gradual approach. I planned out my weeks. At first it was just day to day, and then it started to be week to week. And then I would plan not only my workouts, but I'd also plan what I would eat throughout the day too. And I would wake up literally 4:00 in the morning, get my workout in, and then I'd always try to do it before the kids got up, because once they get up, you never know how the day's going to go from there. So I'd always just have some me time in the morning just to set the tone for the day, and my workouts would set the tone for the day. So even throughout the transformation too, or throughout the challenge, I always say this, but it wasn't just physical for me, because once you get the physical together, you really start to change mentally as well. And that's a big difference between being physically fit for life versus being physically fit for a moment like a pageant. So I really do feel like the changes that I have made are changes that I can do in a day-to-day life. And they're changes that truly they've become a part of my everyday life.
That's really interesting, because a lot of people, they see the success of everybody and they think, oh, that must have just happened because, they have the secret sauce that, everyone else doesn't have. It's always this mentality of, man, I wish I could have that tomorrow, versus paying the dues.
Right.
It's a lifestyle for what you did. Were you shocked at all that when the announcement was made, what was going through your mind when you found out that, hey, this is crazy?
Yeah. So just to give you a little more too, like at the end of the challenge, they send out an email just saying, hey, upload your pictures if you want to be considered for the oxygen cover. And I was even still hesitant to post my pictures. There was a popular vote and then also an internal vote. But just throughout the process too, like I said, you change so much physically, but you also change a lot mentally too. And throughout the process, I'm also an avid reader. So I started picking up more books and just reading more about just personal development and getting my mind right, and physically not only getting there, but also mentally getting there. So I have a tribe of amazing women that are just true cheerleaders to me, and also an amazing husband too. And I ended up, they they convinced me, hey, you need to go ahead and at least submit your photo and see what happens. And that was so out of my comfort zone. But throughout the challenge, I have found too, like if it's not uncomfortable, you aren't growing, and I don't think we are put on this earth to not grow and to not be stretched into what ultimately God wants us to be. So, just back to your question, was I shocked? I was so shocked because, again, I almost did not submit my photos at all. And it was just really, really quick. I was called and told that I won the challenge, and I had to keep everything quiet, couldn't tell anyone, and I had to fly out to LA for the photo shoot. So I was very shocked. It still doesn't feel real. But again, I think that's a part of just the process and becoming who I'm supposed to be.
So take us back when you were flying out to LA for this photo shoot. Like, what was going through your mind? Who were you seeing? You don't have to say names or anything, but what was that whole atmosphere like? Because that's like a whole crazy experience right there.
Yeah. So flying out there, it was just kind of like, man, this is really, really happening. But I remember grabbing some stuff, like some water and some snacks from the airport, one of the airport stores. And I remember seeing I think it was like the November, December issue of Oxygen magazine. And I was just thinking, man, I am flying to LA, and come January, February, that's going to be me. So it was just unreal, like just chills and excitement. And, it just was seriously unreal. And then the photo shoot, the team that Oxygen has, the amazing photographers who have photographed some of the top A-list when it comes to just everything. So like being able to be chosen as the Oxygen cover model, and these amazing people who are so talented in LA, being able to work with them, it was an absolute honor. And, again, like I just felt like I was just trying to live it up and just feel all of the feelings. And it pretty much was like a workout of trying to get the perfect shot and all of that good stuff. Tons of, I don't know if you've seen the magazine, the inserts in the magazine, but lots of toe touches to get the perfect toe touch that they put in the magazine. And it was an awesome full day of shooting. So it was good. Really something that will be a part of me as long as I live, that first cover. Because I hope that there will be more.
And your family and friends, what was their response? And definitely your husband, what was everyone's reaction when you were the winner, and also when you were flying out to LA?
Yeah, so initially I couldn't share with anyone that I had the opportunity, except for my husband, of course. He was super, super excited for me. He saw me transform before his very eyes. And he's just been so excited about the whole process, even now that the magazine has been released. And now that my friends know about it and everything, everyone's excited. I get so many messages, emails, DMs, you name it, from people who want to know what I did to make that change. And I feel extremely blessed and honored to be in the position that I'm in, because now I can share the things that work for me. And ultimately, if I can share how I feel by making those huge lifestyle changes with other people, and they're able to make those changes as well and have the transformation that I had throughout this process, that is something that truly, truly just hits home and makes me so happy and excited about this whole process. It's just inspiring others to be the best.
And on the next half of the show, we definitely going to dive deeper in some tips that you have for people, because a lot of people, it's 2019, a new year. A lot of people have made some resolutions, and it could be safe to say that most of us have probably plain spades reneged already, and it kind of went out the window. So we're going to give people a boost of inspiration who want to get fit in 2019, and you're the right person to talk to, because I'm sure everyone's going to be calling the phone and sending even more emails asking for more tips. So you guys and ladies, do not touch your iPhone. You're listening to I Am Refocused podcast, and we will definitely be right back.
Welcome to Rockafellas Barbershop. This is the day that the Lord has made, and I will be blessed and be glad in Him. Today I want to introduce myself. My name is Rico Rodriguez at Rockafellas Barbershop here in San Antonio, Texas, 1733 Babcock Rd. My phone number is 210-782-5188. And again, we do walk-ins on Sundays. You are listening to I Am Refocused podcast on iHeartradio. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.
Does your website need more traffic? Well, visit overflowcafe.com today. They make websites popular, and over 41,000 people use their service to gain more customers. They are winning our business. What about you? Visit overflowcafe.com today.
Welcome back to I Am Refocused podcast. We are talking to Kayla Sanders. She is the really, really, really popular woman right now in fitness world, because she graced the cover of Oxygen magazine in the January and February issue, and it's all about fitness on this episode. So let's get right back into what we're talking about. Say there's someone right now, they're listening to this podcast and they're like, man, this is awesome. You got the cover and you deserve it. You did what you had to do. But man, reality for me, I'm not getting the results, or maybe I'm getting some results, but I'm not getting the results that I actually want. It's going kind of slow. What is it that they need to do, that individual? Where can they start so that they put themselves in the right place and taking the right steps forward?
Absolutely. I think especially with it being the first of the year, we're 10 days into this thing. Even if you have fallen off, like, you can get back on at any time. Like, you create your own timeline. The big thing for me was I made my workouts a priority. I made eating well a priority. I came up with a plan too. Like, you have to write it down, put it in your cell phone of when you're going to work out, and you just check it off as you go. And again, like I said in the first half, like, you really have to just do a little bit, and over time you will start to gain strength. You will start to see that your habits are changing and you are creating better habits to become a daily ritual. And over time, you will begin to get more and more momentum, and you will start to do things that you would never think of. I started with the challenge, and throughout the challenge, I actually started training for a half marathon. I was never a long distance runner. That was not my thing. And throughout this process, I trained for a half marathon because I started to get momentum just from doing the day-to-day things that I talked about earlier. You have to start from somewhere, start small, and you just build upon that. And I'll tell you this too, when I started finishing the last mile of my half marathon, 13.1, I remember almost like just being overwhelmed and just like the feeling of just like wanting to cry, because I'm like, man, I would have never thought in a million years that I could run a half marathon. When I started this whole fitness journey, I could barely do a push-up, so, and it literally physically hurt, because stuff just jiggled. It jiggled. And so like trying to run and stuff, like my body was bouncing back. And, when I had my daughter, I had a cesarean, and I literally felt like my body was disconnected. And I talked a little bit about that in the magazine. And now I can say, like, I feel strong all over, and I still have huge goals ahead of me, fitness goals. But from where I started to where I am now, it's night and day difference. But I started slowly, and I gradually just added things on as I went. And I was just very strategic in having a plan and checking the box every single day to make sure that I made Kayla a priority by at least getting in my workouts and trying to eat as clean as I possibly could eat. And again, I know you guys have all heard the saying, like, you cannot pour from an empty cup. And if I don't take care of Kayla, then my husband doesn't get the best Kayla. He doesn't get the best wife. My kids don't get the best mom. And even in my job, they do not get the best Kayla. So it's really important that we take care of ourselves, and everyone reaps the benefits of that.
That's very true. And also, when people start, they got to keep themselves motivated and remind themselves why they started what they started. Because it's like, when you start the journey, it's like, oh man, I can do this. And then once reality hits, as far as the work, the amount of work and dedication it actually takes for a person to reach their goals, to reach that target, to hit that target, that's a whole different ball game. That's when you know you're going to the next level, because it requires you to have next level work ethic and mindset. Because like you said about mentality, you can't just do it physically. You have to sharpen your mind on a daily basis and say, even if I don't feel like doing this, what's my end goal?
You've got to push through. And again, if you can go there in the mind, and I'm sure you've all heard this, but if you can go there in the mind, you can go there physically. You totally can. And I think for me, I'm huge on affirmations. I have vision boards everywhere. I've got my Pinterest board. I'm constantly reading things too. Life happens. We all have crap that is being thrown at us and can get us off our A game. But as you go, like when you're training your body physically, like it's the same thing mentally. You have to train that muscle, and you can pretty much almost rewire your brain. Like there's even studies that speak to that. So we just have to change our way of thinking, and then our bodies are going to change too, because we're going to end up doing things differently. And again, like we can't do the same things that we've been doing over and over again, because you'll continue to get the same results. And I'm so passionate about my transformation. I've had a lot of people reach out to me in regards to supplements and all kinds of powders and this, that, and the other. I did this. I mean, it's been real food and real work. Mm-hmm. There is no quick fix. If you want it to be a healthy lifestyle change, you have to put in the work. It's just that simple.
What's amazing is you're able to share your story with Oxygen Magazine. And you're also here on I Am Refocused podcast to share with everybody your experience of not giving up. Because imagine if you would have gave up during the process. And it's funny you mentioned towards the end that you were almost uncomfortable to submit a photo, for the results. That's very powerful when people they follow through. Because we've been saying that throughout the whole show, but it's something that we definitely should drill in people's heads, because follow through is the most important thing, no matter what you do in life, whether it's you are working at your day job or you're a new entrepreneur. It is something that everybody in their profession or just bettering themselves where they're at, you have to be honest where you are. And then you have to follow through with where you want to go. Because I like saying this all the time. If you don't know what you're doing, as far as like what you want to do in life, it's like throwing a dart in a dark room, hoping to hit a target, but you won't hit the target because you're in a dark room and you're just going to hit anything, or you're going to hit somebody else and it's going to be dangerous.
Right. So, I mean, even to speak to that even more so, we all have that inner voice, that inner critic that tries to just hold us back from doing things because we don't see what it's going to look like in the end. But I'm a strong believer, one, that you have to have faith and you have to at least try. You've got to get in the game. You're not going to win the game if you don't get in it. And I think so often we count ourselves out before we even get started. And I had lost the weight. I felt great. And I almost stopped myself from submitting my photos. And I would have never had the opportunity to share my story with so many. And I would have never had the opportunity to grace the cover of Oxygen magazine. And I'm so thankful that I got out of my comfort zone and I felt uncomfortable and I just let it all out. And I did it anyway, because the stories and the emails and text messages, and all these amazing just stories of now I'm on people's vision boards and things like that. Like, it's so rewarding. And to know that, like, I almost didn't even use that opportunity. It blows me away. So whatever it may be, even if it's not physical fitness, whatever it is, like, if you have a dream, like, go for it. What do you have to lose? Like, we only get this one life. And man, I hope when it's all said and done for me that I can close my eyes knowing that I've really used every moment that I possibly could use.
And you mentioned it in the first segment, but I kind of want to go back to that thought. When was the first time you actually were exposed to Oxygen magazine? When was the first time you held a magazine in your hand?
Yeah, I think I was probably 16, 17, when I saw the first Oxygen magazine. Yeah.
Wow. The reason why I want to mention that is because it's quite interesting that you held that in your hands. You saw that at that age, and then you speed up to 2019. Boom, front cover.
Right. Well, I am a strong believer that you have to envision it. You have to put in the work. And I think, some people call it the secret. But the Bible says it, ask, believe, and receive. And I believe that, you put in the work, you have faith, and you move in that direction, and doors will open, whatever it may be, whether it be getting your health back, or, you starting some new company, or, just stepping out and on faith with whatever it may be. So that's just how I believe. And today, like, literally my motto is, if I'm not uncomfortable, I'm not growing. And Kayla wants to grow.
That's a very good statement. If I'm not comfortable, I'm not growing. A lot of people, including myself, because the biggest secret is that there really is no secret, because if you're willing to put in the minutes, the hours, the days, it turns to weeks, it turns to months, and it turns to years. So how we spend our minutes is what really determines any kind of result that will really come. Because if you spend your minutes in fear, well, you're going to keep getting fearful results. But if you spend your minutes in purpose, why am I doing this? What's the bigger picture? Because you're after the Oxygen magazine front cover. It's not like you're going back to your old self. You're still continuing this lifestyle of fitness, and I'm sure you inspire a lot of people in your local community, and not just that, but your family and friends that are in your community. Speak on that. Like, how have you become an influence as far as not just fitness, but just an inspiration as a person? Because you mentioned faith too. How have people reach out to you locally as far as motivation?
Yeah. So, it's been local. I've had some people internationally reach out to me in regards to the magazine and my story. It's been a little bit of everything from, what do you do day in and day out to stay on track with what you eat? What is your meal plan? What is your, how do you incorporate feeding a family with your meal plan too? When do you work out? Because it seems, I'm in cardiac surgery, supporting cardiac surgeons. So sometimes I'm working and early in the wee hours of the morning and sometimes late at night. It just depends. So I've had a lot of just, how do you do it? How do you juggle being a mom, being a wife, and a really busy career? And I've also had people reach out to me and say, it's nice to see someone who looks like me who's on the cover of a fitness magazine. So all of that has been just awesome. And I hope that I can continue to inspire people with my story. But with all of that too, I've created a 30-day jumpstart program that's going to be coming out. It's absolutely free. And it's going to have a meal plan. It's also going to have workouts that you can do from home. So that there is no excuse for getting healthy and getting yourself back. I'm also creating a website that's coming soon that's going to have amazing recipes and just tips and tricks on staying on track. So there's more to come. This has been an awesome opportunity, and it's not going to be the end of what you see from Kayla. I am going to continue to just lean in and be a resource and just walk through this healthy lifestyle change for so many. So, yes, that's been my experience and what I've heard from my local community, international community, you name it.
And say there's someone listening to this episode and they're thinking right now, oh, this is great. And say this is the person that they had issues starting and stopping. And they're the person that can hear a great story like this and for days be excited, but then it kind of fades out. Maybe it's lack of confidence. Maybe it's the environment that they're in. What words of encouragement and wisdom will you give to that individual to either A, surround themselves with better people or just have that discipline of going after their goals and being disciplined enough to be consistent and reaching for them? What would you say to that person?
Right. I think it's so important, the people that we surround ourselves with. If they are not on board with you and they're not pushing you forward, then they need to go. It's that simple. Your health, that is so big. Like without your health, like I see patients day in and day out who don't have it, and nothing else matters when you don't have your health. Like that job that you work so hard for, or that car, or you name it. Like if you don't have your health, like that doesn't matter. It really doesn't. So if you're on the fence and you just are lacking motivation, like just start from somewhere. And again, like I said, you will gain momentum. Have your vision board. Start reading books on just positivity and getting your mindset right. And then surround yourself with amazing people who are doing great things, who are doing the things that you want to be doing. They have that saying about the people who you surround yourself with, you become a lot like them. If the people you're surrounded by are not what you want to become, then it may be time to find another group. I want to be in the room with people who are way smarter than I am, with people who are extremely fit, so I can continue to reach to be my personal best. So again, I think that you have to make the decision, and then you have to be committed to just doing something every single day. And your daily habits become your ritual. And you have to be disciplined. You know, that's one of my biggest goals for the year, is to continue in this journey of self-discipline. Because when you have self-discipline, you can do anything you want to do. Anything.
Man, that's it. I mean, you pretty much landed the plane for us on this episode, because that's it. Like what you just said, that's the key to the door for anyone listening. And really, there's a quote that I like to share with people every now and then. It's one of my favorite quotes from back in high school days, and it's by Blaise Pascal. And I think it's very fitting for this topic. He said, in faith, there's enough light for those who want to believe, and also enough shadows to blind those who don't. So it goes back to the whole thing, like Henry Ford, you know, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. It's you. Right. It's you that's in the way. It's the one you see in the reflection. You're the one that has to say, I'm doing this, whether I'm tired, whether I'm in pain, whether this is happening at work or happening at, at the home or somewhere else, whatever the distraction is, because it's like you have a buffet line. Some of it is excuses, and then some of it is healthy food. You got to pick, you got to choose and pick very wisely what it is you're going to ingest every day, because it's going to come out.
Right. No, it totally is. And you are spot on. Like, you have to believe it, and then you have to literally just change your way of thinking, change how you give it all you have and just push through. Man, I'm a mom of 2 girls, and my husband has a busy career, as do I. And I was tired a lot, but I kept pushing through. And I'm so happy that I did. I feel amazing. And I think everyone deserves that opportunity to have their best life and to just have the most amazing health journey that they possibly can have.
Well, there you have it. This was an exclusive inside scoop of Kayla Sanders' story. And you definitely want to get the Oxygen magazine, where she is the front cover of the January and February Cover Girl issue. We want to thank you for just saying yes to be on the show, I Am Refocused podcast, taking time out of your busy schedule to share your story and just inspire people out there who want to make a change in their life, because not everybody is willing to pay the price, the ultimate price it takes to get what you want in life. And you are still doing what you're doing. You're focused and you have clarity. And people need that. People in this world, they need that spark of inspiration. So thank you for taking the time to share your story with I Am Refocused podcast.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Well, like we always say, everybody, every single episode, it's the same script. It's the last line. Keep God first, stay focused, and peace.